Today we're going to be talking about some of the craziest and most bizarre fashion trends from history because seriously, what the fuck? Let's start with a color that was literally a killer, Paris green. In the 19th century, this vibrant, bright pigment was all the rage in fashion. People loved it because of how intense and eye-catching it was, but what they didn't know that it was made from copper arsenite, which is basically arsenic. It was used in everything from dresses to wallpaper, and tragically many women became seriously ill or even died due to the arsenic poisoning. Fashionable? Absolutely. Safe? Not even close. Up next, we have the Chopin shoes, which were platform heels in the 16th century. But forget the trendy stilettos you might see today. These shoes could elevate women up to 20 inches off the ground. They were mostly worn in Venice, where keeping your gown away from the filthy streets was a top priority. But walking in them, not so easy. Many women needed assistance just to move around, and they were definitely not built for comfort. Now let's talk about the crinoline skirt of the Victorian era. These massive, rigid skirts were designed to give women's dresses that iconic hourglass shape, but they were huge, sometimes as wide as 20 feet. Imagine trying to navigate doorways or worse, getting caught in a gust of wind. Crinolines were not only a fashion statement, but a hazard to everyone around you. Then there's the terrifying practice of lotus shoes from ancient China. For over 1,000 years, women with bound feet wore tiny pointed shoes designed to fit their unnaturally small feet. Foot binding itself was a painful and disabling process that caused lifelong suffering, but these shoes were meant to be beautiful, and they were a status symbol at the cost of comfort and mobility. In the 1950s, the teddy boy subculture in the UK introduced a style that had the youth wearing elongated draped jackets, narrow trousers, and slick-backed hair. It was rebellious, flashy, and definitely not everyone's cup of tea. But for those who embraced it, it was a form of self-expression. Sometimes fashion is about more than just looking good, it's about making a statement. And finally, let's not forget the panniers, wide hoop-like undergarments worn in the 18th century to create exaggerated side profiles. These were mostly seen in France and England, and the wider the pannier, the more status you had. They made moving through narrow spaces nearly impossible, but hey, when you've got the most noticeable silhouette in the room, what's a little inconvenience, right? So there you have it, some of the most bizarre and strange fashion trends in history, from toxic pigments to impossibly large skirts. It's clear that fashion has always been a bold and sometimes dangerous form of self-expression.